to rename NICOM. Federal government returns 13 oil blocks to licensing basket. On the foreign scene, Britain takes steps to ease cost of living. US launches fresh attack against Iran. Heart of the matter today is on building Nigeria's knowledge economy through the Genomic City initiative, while feature is on Alabidun. My name is Dayo Adenuga, and reading with me is
Feyishara Owomuyela. Thank you for joining us. Remember to listen to us on live stream via www.radionigeriaibadan.gov.ng or watch us live on Facebook at Premier FM 93.5. Your health matters. Stay warm as we experience the downpour. Now the details. The Senate has passed a bill for the renaming of the National Insurance Commission (NICOM) as Insurance Regulatory Commission. According to the Senate, the change to the new name is imperative against the backdrop that the former name is confusing given the history and makeup of the Nigerian insurance history. The bill seeks to provide protection for the Commission and its officers against adverse claims in respect of the execution of their powers. The bill was sponsored by Senator Mukail Adetokunbo Abiru, alongside all members of the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance, and other financial institutions.
The federal government has disclosed that 13 of the 50 oil and gas blocks offered under the 2025 licensing round will be returned to the licensing basket after failing to attract bids. The Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Orishemeyiwa Eyesan, disclosed this at the 2025 Commercial Bid Conference in Abuja. Eyesan said while 50 blocks were initially put up for bid, only 37 received representations from prospective investors. She also disclosed that 143 companies submitted about 200 bids for the available assets.
President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to improving global road safety by directing the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps (FRSC), Malam Shehu Mohammed, to lead the country's delegation to the United Nations high-level meeting on improving global road safety, holding at the United Nations General Assembly headquarters in New York, United States. The meeting, attended by heads of state, ministers, global policymakers, and road safety experts, is focused on accelerating efforts to achieve the United Nations target of reducing road traffic deaths and injuries by 50% before 2030 under the UN Decade of Action for Road Safety. Representing President Tinubu at the plenary session, Malam Shehu Mohammed presented Nigeria's national statement on the theme, Scaling Up and Accelerating Implementation of Commitments to Halving Road Traffic Deaths and Injuries by 2030. He reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to strengthening road safety governance through sustained political support, strategic investments, innovation, and stronger international partnerships in line with the Renewed Hope agenda. The Corps Marshal highlighted reforms undertaken by the federal government to strengthen the institutional capacity of the FRSC, including the deployment of the technology-driven enforcement systems, improved emergency response mechanisms, and intensified public enlightenment campaigns aimed at reducing road crashes and fatalities across the country.
The Oyo State government has flagged off a 2-day training for 3,000 public secondary school teachers on climate literacy. The Climate Literacy and Awareness Program, CLAP, organized in collaboration with a non-governmental organization, Global Impact Sustainable Development, Oyo State Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, and Oyo State Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources drew participants from selected secondary schools in the state. Declaring the training open, Oyo State Commissioner for Education, Mr. Olusegun Olaiwola, represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Mrs. Bamidele Onyeloye, identified climate change as a major threat to human life, charging the teachers to move from conversation to commitment. In his address, Commissioner for Environment and Natural Resources, Dr. Ademola Adeonito, who noted that the state had established protocols on climate action with the inauguration of a Climate Change Council, urged the teachers to inculcate environmental-friendly culture in their students, like planting of trees to mitigate the effect of climate change.
See this as an avenue to learn what we will take back to incorporate into our everyday interaction and conversation with our students, so that they are conscious of this problem. We could create an environmental press club, a climate press club.
On her part, Special Advisor to the Oyo State Governor on Intervention and Donor Funding, Mrs. Adirunke Adebayo, enjoined the teachers to take advantage of their influence on students to sensitize families and impact future generations. Earlier, the facilitator, who is the Chief Sustainability Officer, Mr. Akinolu Akindele, had said the teachers will be trained in climate risk actions, waste segregation and management, as well as climate change mitigation. Mr. Akindele added that every action taken and every student inspired brings the state closer to becoming climate resilient.
In Osun State, the governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, has condemned the disruption of public peace across motor parks in Osogbo by factions of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW. In a statement signed by spokesperson Malam Olawale Rashid, Governor Adeleke called on security agencies to arrest Ashiri Eniba and other persons he alleged were APC thugs responsible for the attacks. The governor condemned the repeated shootings and the intimidation of innocent residents around the old garage and other motor parks in Osogbo. Governor Adeleke also alleged that police officers provided cover for Ashiri Eniba and members of his group during the incident, claiming that videos showing sporadic shootings allegedly involving the group had circulated widely on social media, while lorry loads of policemen accompanied them as they moved across motor parks in the state. The governor said he had personally drawn the attention of the Inspector General of Police and other security chiefs to the incident and demanded the immediate arrest of Ashiri Eniba for breaching public security. Governor Adeleke questioned why a protest would target innocent commuters at motor parks and warned that his administration might review its support for the NURTW in the state. He expressed confidence that the Alowonle-led leadership of the Osun State NURTW would call its members to order, warning that if the alleged disorderly conduct by Ashiri Eniba and his group continued, the state government might be compelled to reintroduce the park management system across motor parks in the state.
Meanwhile, the faction of the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, ALGON, loyal to the All Progressives Congress APC in Osun State, has announced the immediate suspension of the activities of all transport unions operating in public motor parks across the state. The vice chairman of the faction, Mr. Larry Balogun, made the announcement during a news conference in Osogbo. Mr. Balogun said the action became necessary following what he described as the increasing wave of violence, killings, and criminal activities allegedly associated with the crisis in the state motor parks. Mr. Balogun cited recent violent incidents in Osogbo allegedly linked to the functional chairman of the NURTW, Mr. Nuruddin Alowonle, including the killing of a toddler and the shooting of an elderly man currently receiving medical treatment. However, another faction of the ALGON, loyal to the People's Democratic Party (PDP) under the leadership of Mr. Sharafuddin Awotunde, has condemned the directive purportedly suspending the activities of the National Union of Road Transport Workers (NURTW) in the state, describing the action as illegal, unconstitutional, and of no legal effect.
And away from Osun State, President Bola Tinubu has approved the establishment of a new army battalion in Kwara State as part of efforts to strengthen security and intensify the fight against banditry, terrorism, and other crimes in the state. The battalion, which will be located in Omuaran, headquarters of Irekpodun local government area, is expected to increase the deployment of troops and military hardware to enhance security operations, especially in communities affected by rising cases of kidnappings and bandit attacks. Kwara State Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak disclosed this in a statement issued by his Deputy Chief Press Secretary, Mashood Agbola. He said the approval was another demonstration of the federal government's commitment to addressing security challenges in the state. The governor expressed appreciation to Tinubu for approving the new military formation, saying it would strengthen ongoing counter-terrorism and anti-kidnapping operations across the state.
The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission has dismissed reports suggesting that the Chief of Staff to the President, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, was arrested over the Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Council scandal, insisting that they only honored an invitation from investigators. The anti-graft agency clarified this in a statement posted on its Facebook page, following reports that Gbajabiamila visited the Commission's headquarters in Abuja on Monday in connection with the ongoing investigation into the purported PFIPC. In the statement, the ICPC says the Chief of Staff voluntarily appeared before investigators and was not arrested. The Commission says President Bola Tinubu had directed it to investigate how the PFIPC allegedly operated from the Federal Secretariat in Abuja for about 2 years under Adeniyi Adeyemi, who presented himself as the Council's Director General. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, confirms that the Chief of Staff to the President, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, was at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja yesterday to give a statement in connection with the ongoing investigation into the circumstances surrounding the purported Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Council, PFIPC.
The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps NSCDC Badagry Area Command has uncovered an alleged fake university operating from a 3-bedroom apartment in Ilado, Oloruda Local Council Development Area of Lagos State and rescued 106 youths allegedly lured into the scheme. The Corps also arrested the alleged proprietor of the institution, who reportedly recruited young people from different parts of Nigeria and neighboring West African countries with promises of admission into a foreign university. The operation, carried out after days of intelligence gathering and covert surveillance, exposed the alleged fraudulent academic and recruitment scheme. The youths, mostly aged between 19 and 24, were taken into protective custody by the NSCDC for profiling and further investigation. Speaking on the development, the Badagry Area Commander of the NSCDC, Chief Superintendent Benga Ekunwola, said the operation followed credible intelligence received by the command on activities at the apartment.
Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, says a suspected electrical surge caused a fire that destroyed 17 shops at Sabo Market in Ikorodu early today. LASEMA Head of Public Affairs, Mr. Afolabi Olawale, stated this in Lagos. Mr. Olawale said the fire, which started at the early hours of today, was extinguished through a joint operation involving its Tiger Squad and the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service. He attributed the incident to a suspected electrical surge during public power supply. He says 17 of the 32 shops in the affected section were damaged. LASEMA, however, said no death or injury was recorded.
Ondo State Governor Mr. Lucky Ayedatiwa has paid a tribute to his late predecessor, Mr. Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, describing him as a courageous leader whose legacy continues to inspire the people of the state and Nigeria. In a message to commemorate Akeredolu's 70th birthday, Mr. Ayedatiwa said he joined the Akeredolu family, the people of Ondo State, and countless admirers across the country in celebrating the life and enduring legacy of the late former governor, whom he described as his leader, mentor, and immediate predecessor. The governor noted that although former Governor Akeredolu was no longer alive, the ideals he stood for, his courage, conviction, and unwavering commitment to the progress of Ondo State remain a source of inspiration. He said the governor led with uncommon boldness, defended justice without compromise, and devoted himself to the service of Ondo State and the nation. Reflecting on their working relationship, Governor Ayedatiwa expressed profound gratitude for the privilege of serving alongside the late governor, saying the confidence Mr. Akeredolu reposed in him, his guidance, and his responsibilities entrusted to him had continued to shape his approach to leadership and public service. The governor also reaffirmed his commitment to building on the foundation laid by former Governor Akeredolu and sustaining his vision of a safer, stronger, and more prosperous Ondo State for the benefit of the people.
This is the world today. The stories that made the headlines. Senate has passed bill to rename NICOM. Federal government returned 13 oil blocks to licensing. Still to come, Britain takes steps to ease cost of living. US launches fresh attack against Iran.
Glad to know you're still with us. It's the news on the world today from the Southwest Network of Radio Nigeria. The rest of the package, we move to the foreign scenes. Britain's Prime Minister Andy Bonham is kickstart his program to ease the cost of living for millions of Britons by planning to remove tax on household electricity bills. The Labour leader who took over as Prime Minister said value-added tax VAT would be taking up bills from October in a policy costing the government about £850 million in the current UK financial year. The government said the tax cut would be funded by cancelling previous Prime Minister Keir Starmer's plan for a digital ID scheme that would have cost the taxpayer £1.8 billion. The new Prime Minister said he wishes to ease pressure also on small businesses hit by the previous Labour administration's tax hikes.
The US military says it launched another round of strikes against Iran to further degrade its capabilities to attack ships in the Strait of Hormuz. The 10th consecutive night of attacks came after US President Donald Trump vowed to punish Iran for the death of US soldiers. U.S. news agency said Iran struck 2 oil tankers in the waterways, as well as U.S. military assets in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan. Iran President Moshud Pezeshkian said Iran was now fighting a full-scale war with the U.S. Trump had earlier said Iran had been hit very hard the previous night to honor 3 U.S. soldiers killed recently, 2 in Jordan and 1 in Iraq.
Similarly, the U.S. Department of State has issued the second security alert in 3 days amid heightened Middle East tensions, advising U.S. citizens to exercise caution. A notice posted on the Department of State's website said that Americans currently in the Middle East should exercise caution and heightened vigilance and should be prepared for possible flight cancellations, periodic airspace closures, and potential travel disruptions. The Pentagon had announced that the number of U.S. military casualties from Iranian attacks has risen to nearly 100 over the last 2 weeks.
Nigeria's ambassador to China, retired Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Dambazo, has called for stronger Nigeria-China cooperation in lithium battery manufacturing, urging Chinese investors to move beyond mineral processing to establishing production facilities in Nigeria. Ambassador Dambazo made the call during the African Mainstream Media Workshop organized by the International Department of the Communist Party of China in Beijing. The ambassador said Nigeria's abundant deposits of critical minerals, including lithium, provided an opportunity for the country to transition from raw material exporter to a manufacturing hub. He disclosed that the Nigerian government was encouraging Chinese companies operating in the country to expand their activities beyond processing minerals to producing finished products.
Still taking foreign scenes, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has approved the appointment of new persons to fill its strategic statutory positions and specialized institutions from 2026 to 2030. This is contained in a communique at the end of the 69th ordinary session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government in Lungi, Sierra Leone. The new appointment includes 5 commissioners for the ECOWAS Commission, 5 judges for the ECOWAS Court of Justice, an Auditor General of ECOWAS institutions, and a Director General of the West African Health Organization. The new judges of the ECOWAS Court are Awaba from Gambia, Charlene Bromskine from Liberia, Desire Ahu, Benin, Henrietta Didigo, Nigeria, and the current Chief Registrar of the ECOWAS Court, Yauza Orosama from Togo. The new commissioners are Mrs. Frances Olgali, Sierra Leone, Commissioner, Political Affairs, Peace and Security, Mr. Defuezuo, Liberia, Economic Affairs and Agriculture, and Ms. Dr. Kalilo Sila, Ivory Coast, Internal Services. Others are Mr. Amin Sulaiman from Ghana, who is the Commissioner for Infrastructure, Energy and Digitalization, as well as Professor Nasiru Bako Arifari from Benin Republic as Commissioner for Human Development and Social Affairs.
In today's Heart of the Matter, Fumilola Obagbayegova, Current Affairs Unit writes on building Nigerians' knowledge economy through the Genomic City Initiative.
A genomic city is a specialized technology and science hub that brings together researchers, universities, and tech companies to study DNA, create new medicines, and build medical data systems. It is a physical zone dedicated to unlocking genetic data to improve human health care. This month, federal government's unveiling of the Nigeria Genomic City Initiative marks a significant step in the country's quest to build a knowledge-based economy. The project, designed to position Nigeria as a hub for genomics, biotechnology, and precision medicine, is a bold investment in science, innovation, and human capital development. For decades, Nigeria has relied heavily on crude oil revenues while investing relatively little in scientific research and technological advancement. Yet, countries that have made remarkable economic progress have done so by prioritizing innovation, research, and the application of science to solve societal challenges. Genomics, the study of an organism's genetic makeup, has transformed healthcare across the world. It enables the development of precision medicine, where treatments are tailored to an individual's genetic profile. For Nigeria, where diseases such as sickle cell disorder, cancer, and infectious diseases continue to pose serious health challenges, genomic research could lead to earlier diagnosis, better treatment, and improved disease prevention. Beyond healthcare, the initiative has enormous potential for agriculture. Scientists can develop crop varieties that are more persistent to drought, pests, and diseases, thereby improving food security. Livestock feeding and environmental conservation can also benefit from genomic technologies, helping Nigeria adapt to the growing effects of climate change. Another major advantage of the project is its potential to create jobs. A thriving genomic ecosystem will require researchers, laboratory scientists, software developers, bioinformaticians, engineers, and entrepreneurs. It could also attract local and foreign investment, encourage collaboration with international institutions, and reduce the migration of talented Nigerian scientists seeking better research opportunities abroad. Research facilities must be equipped with modern technology, while universities and research institutes should be encouraged to collaborate with the industry. Policies that protect data privacy, uphold ethical standards, and promote responsible scientific research must also be put in place. Equally important is the need to invest in education. Nigeria must strengthen science, technology, engineering and mathematics education from the basic level to produce the skilled workforce required to sustain such an ambitious project. The proposed National Research and Innovation Development Fund is a welcome development, but transparency, accountability, and effective implementation will determine whether the initiative achieves its objectives or not. The Nigeria Genomic City initiative should therefore be seen not merely as another government project, but as a strategic investment in the nation's future. If properly implemented, it could transform healthcare, boost agricultural productivity, stimulate economic growth, and establish Nigeria as a leading center for scientific innovation in Africa.
That script on building Nigeria's knowledge economy through the Genomic City initiative was written by Fumilola Obagbayegun of our Current Affairs Unit and read by Emilia Ojemudia.
Right from that, do you know that names have peculiar meanings, especially among the Yorubas? Such is the name Alabido. Let's now join Blessing Adesanya for details.
It is one of the unique cultural practice of Yoruba people to name places, people, and things based on prevailing circumstances. Credence to this fact is the name of an area called Alabidun in Egbeda local government area of Ibadan, Oyo State. It is one of the communities that host the new airport in Alakia, Ibadan. Historically, the name Alabidun could be traced to a great warrior known as Oshatomi, an indigene of Oyo town who migrated centuries ago. According to the Baale of Alabidun, Chief Olayiwola Oyekunle Alaran, this warlord Oshatomi left Oyo town to Ede and later to Ibadan in a bid to form alliance with Ogunmola in fighting Kiriji War. After the war, Oshatomi and his kinmen went to hunt in a thick forest currently called Alabidun. In this forest, he saw a big tree that had species of kola nut known as Obi Abidun. Abidun kola nut on it, and he then settled therein. Chief Oyekunle added that the warlord planted more of these Abidun kola trees and traded it to make ends meet. Over time, people from other villages visited the warlord to purchase Abidun kola nut from Alabidun, the possessor of Abidun kola nut. Thus, the village was called Alabidun till date.
That script on Alabidun was written by Olubumi Adeuni.
To end the news and the world today from the stable of Radio Nigeria, here again are today's top stories. The senators passed a bill for the remaining of the National Insurance Commission as Insurance Regulatory Commission. The federal government has disclosed that 13 of the 50 oil and gas blocks offered under the 2025 licensing round will be returned to the licensing basket after failing to attract bids. Britain's Prime Minister Andy Burnham has kick-started his program to ease the cost of living for millions of Britons by planning to remove tax on household electricity bills. The U.S. military says it launched another round of strikes against Iran to further degrade its capabilities to attack ships in the Strait of Hormuz.
And that's the news in the world today. To join us tomorrow for the midweek edition, Lillian Ibomo edited. I am Feyishara Owomoyela, thanking you for listening from my colleague
Dayo Adenuga, thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day.
We join our network services for the next program.